The Scrum Guide tells us that removing, I mean, what you mentioned is I totally agree, right? The Scrum Guide leaves the door open. So if you want to implement some other things like Kanban or whatever on top of it, you can do it, right? Because the guide tells you that. But then at the beginning of the guide, it also lets you know that if you change something, then you may probably uh, do it. You hide
It's not done.
problems, or
Yes.
yeah, it will not work as it is expected if you change some stuff, right? So it's kind of a tricky paragraph over there, right? So the question would, with that said, the question would be, what happens if you have a team and then they come back to you and tell you, hey, Carlo, we want to do three stand-ups or daily scrums instead of five every week? Or what happens if they come back to you and tell you, well, we don't want to have a sprint review this at the end of this sprint because I don't know, they have their reasons, right? We worked a lot on, I don't know, back end work, and there's nothing to validate with the stakeholders or to show them. So you probably have had these kind of teams, right? That they want to change the framework. What is your position about it? Are you okay with changing it, adapting it to each team and context, or are you like a purist, like said, no, let's do the thing, right? What do you think?
No, I think that sentence is there for a reason, and I agree with that. So if you change the basic elements of Scrum, it's no longer Scrum. And most of the thing is that if you change it, it won't probably work as expected. So let me, for example, pick the example you said. So we did a lot of backend work, and there is nothing to validate with stakeholders. That's not Scrum. You are not actually using a feedback loop, which is the basic of why Scrum is using and working like that. So all the events are based there to actually prepare for applying empiricism. Okay, so the moment you remove any of the things or any of the elements that are present in Scrum, which means totally removing them, okay, which is what they say. So you change them, meaning that you remove them, or you totally change the purpose, like a daily stand-up uses a status update meeting. That's also removing a part of Scrum and replacing it with something else. And the moment you remove any element of that, you will see that if you actually map Scrum with an empirical process, that is what any researcher would do, okay, in whatever they are doing, you will see that there will be some piece missing. Okay, so you can name any element, name any one of them, and remove it, and you'll see that this will actually not make a good scientific process. It will not promote empiricism. You said we only do 3 dailies instead of 5, for example. That's fine. Okay, you can do that. But what it means is that basically you are removing yourself from a moment in which you are inspecting and adapting your journey. So it means like, okay, instead of looking at where the wind is going when you are driving your boat, instead of looking constantly on where we are going, you close your eyes for, I don't know, 2 hours, and then we'll see. And after I see where I am, I will change my direction. Maybe fine, I may be lucky, but if there is an iceberg in front of me, don't tell to the guys of the Titanic.
So what happens if the team is very mature and they are in the shuhari, we could call it like that, in the and they want to experiment with other things, and they have already followed the Scrum exactly as it was for, let's say, 1 year, and they are delivering value, etc. Would you be willing to try different stuff other than, and even if we then will stop doing Scrum, would you encourage them to try new stuff, or?
Why not? I mean, ideally, if you think about it, the objective of any framework, Kanban systems, Scrum, if you think about the ultimate objective in terms of continuous improvement, is to get rid of the framework. So you get so great that you are doing it, even if you don't think you are not doing it. So if they are very mature and they want to try something else, what could be this something else, and what is the reason for this something else? So it's like if you are an athlete and let's say you are I don't know, Usain Bolt, and you set the world record for the 100 meters and under the 9 second, like 9 second and a half. I don't know what is the exact record. Okay, what would you do? You say, okay, I'm the top. I don't do anything else. No, you challenge yourself. You say, okay, what can I do more to actually go even farther, up until the limits? In that case, we are kind of knowing that we are reaching the human potential limits, but we don't know, because we don't know what genetics will change in the next decades or hundreds of years. So even if they are really good, they have perfect sprint goals, they have a perfectly refined backlog every time, they are delivering on time, highest performance possible. The question will be, okay, now that you are here, what does here looks like? How do you arrive there? What are the practices? Okay, so it's like, let's imagine you are on coding, and you say, okay, we are on continuous delivery and continuous deployment. So we write 1 line of code, it goes through a bunch of automation, we release 1,000 times a day. Okay, so what can you do more? What would you like to achieve? More connection with the customer. It doesn't have to be related to coding. Okay, so what can you do? Okay, we do A/B testing. We now do change the way we deploy. So we make it better. It's like, when Tiger Woods was the top most golf player, he changed the swing, so he could actually make it better.